Hello again, class. So finally, we almost reached the end of our discussion on evaluation and improvement tools. So in this recorded discussion, I will be discussing MRP, ERP, and TPM. Let's get started. So MRP stands for Material Requirements Planning. Okay, Material Requirements Planning. And then ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. Okay, so we will be discussing MRP first and then we will proceed with ERP. Why? Because we will start with the micro version and then moving further towards the macro version. With that being said, one of the distinctions between MRP and ERP is that MRP is limited in scope, while ERP is wider in scope in that ERP includes MRP. Okay, so as you can see here, um, we have MRP 1 first, and then we will proceed with MRP 2. Okay, MRP 1, this is the original version. Why is it called 1? Because this is the first version or original version of MRP. So what is MRP 1? It is a system for calculating the materials and components needed to manufacture a product. So from the term itself, materials. Okay, M for materials. So this is actually a hint for us that when we speak of MRP, we are actually looking at the inventories or materials or components. Okay, so MRP1 is a system. It is a software that will help us determine how much material or how many raw materials or how many supplies do we need in order for us to produce a product. And why is MRP1 crucial in an organization? This is crucial or this is important because MRP1 ensures that material resources are made available just before they are needed by the next stage of production or dispatch. So this cuts the waiting time, okay, and then this ensures that the raw materials that will be needed in the next step of the production are already available um, so as to prevent delays in the production, because if we incur um, delays in our production, that means that our customers will not be satisfied, because if we have delays in the production, our products will be produced late. And if our products will be produced late, then our delivery of the products to the customers who ordered them will also be delayed. Okay. So we need MRP to help us decide when should we purchase a new batch of raw materials, how many raw materials do we need, and when do we need them. So here are the primary steps in our MRP. So first is to take account of the materials and components on hand. So this shows the beginning inventory. So for example, as of the start of this day, we have this much of materials and components. And then second is to determine additional inventory needed. Okay, so for example, we just received an order that would require us to use 100 units of raw materials. And then for step 1, we determined that instead of having 100 that is ready, kumbaga, we only have 20. Okay, we only have 20 units and we need 100. So step 2 will be to determine how much additional inventory do we need. So in that case, we need 80 additional units. Step 3 is to schedule their production or purchase. So the 80 additional inventories that we need, or rather raw materials that we need, do we produce these 80 raw materials, or do we just buy them from outside suppliers? And if we do produce them internally, when will we start producing them? or if we are to purchase these 80 additional inventory needed from outside suppliers, when will we purchase them? Okay, so MRP1 answers the following questions. What to order? What materials, what raw materials, what components do we need to order? When shall we order them? Okay, and how much to order? So the quantity of the order. Okay, so this is also related to our study of economic order quantity in your perhaps in your BA subjects or in your other econ related subjects, wherein we have to make sure that we will not overstock nor understock. Okay, so if we overstock, that means we are just um, buying lots and lots of raw materials without even the need of buying them. I mean, without any demand of them. We do not need these inventories, but we keep on buying. So the effect will be these inventories will be stuck in our warehouse, and then this might get obsolete, um, this might get damaged, and other than that, we will also be incurring additional carrying or storage costs. And we also have to make sure that we will not understock, okay? Because if we are understocked, that means that whenever we need raw materials to produce our products, no, in the manufacturing of our products, there will be delays, okay? So to help us make the best decision as to what to order, what materials to order, when to order them, and how much to order to solve this dilemma. No? Here comes MRP. So MRP will come into the picture. So the features of MRP are the following. The materials are determined based on the master production plan. Later, we will define what is a master production plan. And then MRP regularly updates material requirements as needed. And then order points for each assembly and sub-assembly are determined in advance on the basis of the delivery date and lead time. And then only few safety stocks are maintained under MRP system. And then there is constant checking to see that the items have been really ordered and received on time. So here are the basic inputs and outputs of MRP. So as mentioned, master production schedule. This is very, very important. This is a very important report because this is where the quantity of each finished unit of products to be produced along with the time which each unit will be required are specified. So for example, we have lots and lots of orders. So we need to specify in our master production schedule. You can imagine, no? It's a paper, and then it will show us how many finished goods should we produce at a specific point in time. So for example, week 1, how many units should we produce based on the demand of our customers, from our customers, no? How many finished units should we produce? On week 2, how many finished units or finished goods should we produce? In week 3, and so on. So this will be our master production schedule. Okay, so it will tell us um, how many units or how many units of our finished goods are required to be produced within a specific time frame. Okay, and then we have bill of materials file. So the bill of materials will specify the sub-assemblies, components, and materials requirement for each item of finished goods. So for example, our company is into manufacturing bicycles. Okay, so imagine a bicycle. What could be an example of a material or a component that will be used in order to produce one bicycle? So let's say for one bicycle, we need two wheels, right? So we need two wheels. So for example, if we have 100 orders of bicycles, so the bill of materials file will show that we need 2 times 100. So we need 200 wheels, okay? And then proceed to another component. So what could be another component for us to produce a bicycle? So all of those units or all of those materials and components that are needed in order to produce the desired finished goods will be listed in the bill of materials file. Okay, so when we say bill, it's like a list. It's listing all the components and the materials that are needed to produce the desired finished goods. And then we have the inventory file. This maintains details of items on hand for each sub-assemblies, components, and materials required. Okay, so this is regularly updated whenever there is a movement in inventory. The inventory file will be updated real time. So, for example, if one unit of raw material is being used in the production, then in the inventory file it will show us a deduction. And then every time there is a new delivery of raw materials coming from our suppliers, then the inventory file will also be updated and it will show an addition to the inventories. So an inventory file, an updated inventory file is very, very important because it will show us the real-time status of our inventories, whether we have this much of inventories or kuwang na and then we need to buy some more. Okay, and then we have the routing file. Okay, so the routing file specifies the sequence of operations required to manufacture components, sub-assemblies, and finished goods. So for example, we have different sub-departments within the manufacturing department. So imagine a warehouse. So a portion of the, not warehouse, imagine a factory. So a portion of the factory, there are factory workers there who are in charge for cutting. Okay, cutting. And then another part of the factory is in charge for, let's say, furnishing. Okay, so each part performs a specific set of functions. So the routing file will actually give us an idea of unsa ang ruta ni inventory hangtod mahimo siya nga finished good until it becomes a finished good. So for example, it has to go through cutting first, and then it will go through, after cutting, it will go through the painting, okay? And then after painting, it will go through another set of activities. So the routing file again specifies what is the route or what is the path that the inventory will go through until such time that it will become a finished good. Okay, master part file, medyo naputol ko rin siya. So it contains information about the production time of the, so I think it was cut off here, about the production time of the materials that we are internally producing and the lead time of the materials that we have purchased from our suppliers. So for example, we need 3 raw materials to produce our product. Let's just say, So out of the 3 materials, one of which we will produce internally. And then the 2 we will just buy from the suppliers. So the master part file will show us the information about the production time, meaning how many days or how many weeks, how long will it take us to produce this raw material that we are producing or manufacturing internally. And then the lead time of the raw materials that we have just ordered from our suppliers. So when we say lead time, the time from when we place the order with our supplier until such time that we will be receiving our orders from the suppliers. So that is our master part file. So all of those information I have mentioned will be contained in the master part file. So this is the overview of the MRP system. So again, MRP system is like a software. Okay, it has, so the inputs to the MRP system is our master schedule or master production schedule. Again, what kind of information can we see in the master schedule? So in the master schedule, we will see how many finished goods are we gonna produce and when. Okay, and then another input to the MRP system is our bill of materials. So what can we see in the bill of materials? We can see a list of the materials and components that we need in order to produce the desired finished goods, and how many of those components do we need. Okay, so that is your bill of materials. And then another input to the MRP system is our inventory file. So again, the inventory file will show us the status or the quantity of the products and raw materials that we have on hand. Okay, and every time there are inventory transactions, this will be inputted in the MRP system. So for example, there are raw materials that are now being used in the production, released to the production. So that is a type of an inventory transaction, which will then be used to update the inventory file. Another inventory transaction is when we ordered another batch of raw materials from our suppliers and we were able to receive them. So that is a transaction that is being captured by the MRP system, which will be treated as an inventory transaction and then consequently will affect the inventory file. So the inventory balance in our inventory file will be updated. So those are our inputs, and then as outputs of the MRP system, we can generate these reports. We can generate the planned order schedules, the order releases, and any changes on those orders. And then we can also see exception reports. When we say exception reports, what has gone wrong? Okay, what has gone wrong? So we have these exception reports, and then the planning reports and other performance control reports. So these are merely secondary reports. So merely derivative of the main reports that are being generated by the MRP system. So again, MRP system only deals with inventories. Okay. So what are the prerequisites for the successful operation of MRP? So it doesn't stop now when we purchase the MRP system. If we have an MRP system in place, it doesn't always mean that we will be able to accomplish the goals that we have in mind when we try to implement MRP. We need to make sure that the following items are also existing in our organization so that we could say that our MRP implementation is successful. So first, the latest production and purchasing schedules should adhere to the day-to-day changes from predetermined schedules. And then the raw materials, sub-assemblies, and components required for production should be predetermined in quantifiable terms. The workforce or our employees must be appraised of the system. They must know how to use the system and the need for absolute adherence to the schedules prepared. There should be necessary internal control system that is being developed and implemented. Okay, why? Because, for example, if we have no access control over the physical inventory, there is a chance that some of our employees or factory workers will steal the inventory inside the warehouse. So it might show in the MRP system as, for example, there are 100 units as shown in the MRP, but in reality, because of theft, there has been an ongoing theft um, inside the warehouse. So the actual inventories on hand are actually 30, but in the MRP system, it shows as 100 because we have no internal control system in place. So that would hinder us from implementing a good MRP system. Okay, so it's one of the most important prerequisites for the successful operation of MRP. And then accuracy of data supplied is vital to the MRP system. So for example, diba, as shown here, in the MRP system, the MRP system captures all the inventory transactions. So for example, every time there is a raw material being released into production, so it will also affect the inventory file. So for example, only 50 raw materials were released to the production, but as inputted, the let's say the person the personnel inputted 60 instead of 50. So there is inaccurate data being supplied to the MRP system. And as a consequence, the reports will also be inaccurate. So what are the benefits of using MRP? Significantly decreased inventory levels and corresponding decreases in inventory carrying cost, because we do not have to store many inventories. We will only store inventories or raw materials that are actually needed. There will be no excess inventories. And so, because there are no excess inventories, our inventory carrying cost and storage costs will also decrease. And then fewer stock shortage. We will not be shocked anymore. No? We in fact we need 1,000, but we were not able to anticipate that. So there will be no such problems anymore if we use MRP. So there will be fewer stock shortage. We will be able to keep a safety stock, enough number of stocks for us to keep on producing the or manufacturing the required finished goods. And then there is an increased effectiveness of production supervisors and less production chaos, because there is a clear, detailed plan on how to go about with the production. So this guide, or I mean, these detailed plans will be used as a guide by these production supervisors. And then there will be better customer service, because every time a customer calls in our office, and then a customer would say, can I order 1,000 units of blah blah blah? And then you would say, yes, we can cater that. You could say either yes or no, because you already know the status of your inventory. And then greater responsiveness to change, if there are any changes in the um, number of materials that are being used to produce a product, or if there are any changes in the pricing of the materials, then it is immediately captured by the system. And then there is closer coordination in the marketing, engineering, and financing activities with the manufacturing activity. So marketing department, because the marketing department will be the one to supply us with the number of orders that we have received from our customers. And then the engineering department will be the one to determine the components that are needed to produce a product. The financing or finance department, we also need to coordinate with the finance department, because whenever we want to order additional raw materials from our suppliers, we need the go signal of the finance department. So all of these departments will work hand in hand. Okay, let's now go to MRP II. So what is this MRP II? So again, material requirements planning. So once an MRP system is in place, inventory data can be augmented by other useful information. So again, MRP 1 only focuses on inventory. Now, MRP 2 is like an upgrade. So in MRP 2, we do not just look at inventory, but we look at other costs related to the production. Okay, so we have the labor costs, on top of the material costs. And then we have the capital costs, or the machineries that we need, the equipment, and virtually any resource that you could think of that will be used in the production of our products. So MRP 2 is sometimes referred to as material resource planning. So if you use the term material resource planning, you do not need to place the number 2 anymore. But if you are to use material requirements planning, you need to put the number 2. Okay, so because in material requirements planning, we have the first version and the second version. Or the second version, if you want to omit this, you can refer to this one as material resource planning. So what is MRP 2? MRP 2 coordinates the manufacturing process at a wider scope. Again, as mentioned a while ago, in MRP 1, it only focuses on inventories, nothing else. But in MRP 2, it's wider in scope in that it includes any other resource, like for example, the labor and the equipment or the capital. When we say capital here, this is not capital in layman's term. Capital meaning the equipment, the machineries that are being used. So it is a method for effective planning of all resources of a manufacturing company. Again, all resources, because it does not only focus on the materials but looks at other resources as well. It is made up of a variety of functions that are linked together. Outputs made out of these systems are integrated with different financial reports. So MRP II has three major interfaces. We have the production interface, the accounting interface, and the marketing interface. So in a nutshell, these are the differences between MRP I and MRP II. So for MRP I, as you can see here, it's very limited in that it only looks at all inventory related transactions and reports. So we have inventory, we have the bill of materials, and we have the master production schedule. While on the other hand, MRP II is again wider in scope in that it includes the first three, but it also has other features. So we have the equipment maintenance scheduling, we have the accounting and financial planning, and then we have the forecast demand. So for this one, for the forecast demand, this actually refers to the marketing interface, while accounting and financial planning refers to the accounting interface, while all others, the inventory, bill of materials, master production schedule, and the equipment refers to the production interface, right? So example, let's have an example. Wheeled Coach. Wheeled Coach is a company, the name of a company. So it's one of the largest manufacturers of ambulances in the world. And in fact, it has several international competitors. And this company is producing or manufacturing 12 major ambulance designs. So you can just imagine the complexity of their manufacturing process, right? They have 18,000 different inventory items. They have 6,000 manufactured parts. So out of the 18,000 inventory items, 6,000 is being manufactured internally, while the 12,000 remaining is purchased from suppliers. Okay, the raw materials are being purchased from the suppliers. So if you are one of the managers of Wheeled Coach, it would be very hard for you to monitor the inventories, right? Because of the voluminous number of inventories. So we need MRP. So as a manager, I would suggest that the Wheeled Coach should use MRP so that we would eliminate the struggle of making decisions real time. The system will make the decisions for us. The system will give us the necessary information that we need in order to produce the ordered ambulances using the 18,000 different inventory items. So the four key tasks here is that the material plan must meet both the requirements of the master schedule or master production schedule and the capabilities of the production facility. So we will not overburden the production facility. Like for example, in the master production schedule, it says there that we have to produce 1,000 ambulances in week 1, but then the production facility is only capable of producing 80 in a week. So these two should be harmonized. And how are we going to harmonize that? Through the use of MRP. And then another task is that the plan must be executed as designed, otherwise we will be incurring delays and losses. And then another key task is to minimize inventory investment such that we will only buy the inventories or raw materials that we actually need. And then we have to maintain excellent record integrity. So when we say integrity, we need to make sure that all transactions being captured in the system are accurate. So these are the four key tasks of the company in relation to production. So in order for us to achieve these goals, we can use MRP. How about in services? So is MRP only useful in the manufacturing industry? How about services? How about if the company is not into manufacturing, but rather in the provision of services? So some services or service items are directly linked to demand for other services. So um, although our main, for example, although our main business is service, provision of service, there is still that small amount of inventory that we use in order to serve our clients and customers. So these can be treated as dependent demand services or items. Like for example, in restaurants, our main business is to serve provision of a service. However, in the process of providing service to our customers, we will also be using some sort of materials or products or inventories, right, for our food. And then in hospitals, we have several inventories as well. In hotels, we have also inventories, like for example, inventories of toiletries, um, bed sheets, pillows, and so on. So we still have inventories. Thus, we can still use MRP even though our main business is not manufacturing but rather provision of services. Okay, so let's have this example. So, for example, in a restaurant, one customer has placed an order for a veal picante. I don't know how to pronounce this correctly, but yes, it's veal picante. So, in order for the restaurant to produce this um, food that the customer has ordered, we have to follow these steps. Now, so from the uncooked linguine, so it has to be cooked, and the helper number one should cook this one in work center number two. Okay, and another raw material that we need in order to cook this particular dish is the spinach. So spinach is here, and then we also need a prepared veal and sauce. So in order to produce this subcomponent, we need the sauce and the veal, right? So the one that will prepare this is your assistant chef, who should work in center number three, work center number three. And then after all these subcomponents are prepared, the head chef will work at center number one to cook or to prepare this particular dish. Okay. So this is an example of bill of materials for that particular dish. So we need these materials and then the quantity, unit of measure, and then the unit cost for each material or subcomponent. And then bill of labor. So that is the previous one is the bill of materials, and this one is for the bill of labor. It is a list of uh, the persons involved in preparing such dish and how many hours are being used in their time to prepare such dish. Okay, so we have the chef, we have the helper one, and the assistant chef. Okay, so that would be all for MRP. So I hope you understand now MRP 1 and MRP 2. So let's now proceed to ERP. So ERP is broader than all MRPs combined. So whether it's MRP 1 or MRP 2, as compared to ERP, ERP is the most wide uh, system in terms of scope. So ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. This is an extension of the MRP system to tie in customers and suppliers. This allows automation and integration of many business processes. It shares common databases and business practices and produces information in real time. It even coordinates business from supplier evaluation to customer invoicing. So, in MRP1, as shown in the table I have presented a while ago, diba, we have three main components, while in MRP2, there are added components there. If you remember, the three major interfaces of MRP2 are your production, accounting, and marketing. But how about the other functions of the company? So it is being covered by the Enterprise Resource Planning or ERP. So it involves all functions of the company. It is a system that caters to everyone, regardless of which department you belong. So we have the human resources as well here. We have the general ledger department and all other departments. Okay, so the ERP modules, like in your LMS Canvas rather, 'di ba? We have modules, and I'm sure you've seen also some ERPs before. So we have different modules. In ERP here, it includes the basic MRP. You already know what is included in the basic MRP, and then plus finance, human resources, supply chain management, and customer relationship management. Okay, so this is an overview of ERP. So here, diba, it includes the basic MRP. This is the basic MRP. And then it includes finance as well. Okay, in finance, we have the accounts receivable, general ledger, accounts payable, and payroll. It also includes customer relationship management, so on invoicing, sales order, and shipping. It also includes supply chain management, vendor communication. So all of these modules collectively are included in the ERP. So it is wider in scope as compared to MRP. In fact, MRP is just this part, right? So the entire thing is our ERP. So ERP can be highly customized to meet specific business requirements. So for example, an ERP of a manufacturer could be different from the look of an ERP in the hotel industry. Okay, so ERP can be customized. And Enterprise Application Integration Software also allows ERP systems to be integrated with warehouse management, logistics, electronic catalogs, and quality management. ERP systems, if being used, have the potential to reduce transaction costs and increase the speed and accuracy of information. So in fact, for example, if you're using an ERP and then you want to invoice a customer, so the invoice you have the option of not printing the invoice anymore and physically mailing it to the customer, right? You can immediately prepare the invoice and email it, send it as an attachment to an email to your customer. So here are some of the advantages of ERP systems. It provides integration of the supply chain, production, and administration as shown in our diagram before. It creates commonality of databases. It can incorporate improved best processes, increases communication and collaboration between business units and sites. Why is this so? Because all of the functions inside our company are now talking to each other. It has an off-the-shelf software database. It may provide a strategic advantage. However, we also have disadvantages of ERP systems. It is very expensive to purchase and even more so to customize. So the basic ERP, the ERP that is not yet customized, it is very, very expensive. It costs millions. How much more if you want to customize it? So you have to pay higher than the basic price. And then implementation may require major changes in the company and its processes. And it is so complex that many companies cannot adjust to it because most of the employees are now used to doing things their own way. And then here comes a system, and then they might be hesitant to adjust their conventional way of doing things just to adjust to the system. So it's so complex. It involves an ongoing, possibly never completed process for implementation. So yes, I have a client that purchased an ERP system years ago, and until now, they haven't fully used the ERP yet because of many changes from time to time. Okay, there are also bugs to fix and all other software issues. And then expertise is limited with ongoing staffing problems. So, for example, one staff or a set of employees have already been trained on how to use the system, and then they will resign. So the new employees, the newly hired employees, will also have to be trained again, so that they would know how to use the system. So those are our disadvantages of ERP systems. And here are examples of the most popular ERP systems there is in the market. So we have the Oracle, we have Acumatica, we have SAP, S4HANA. I'm sure you've heard of this, and I think you've tried using S4HANA, and then Biz Automation and Oracle NetSuite. All right. Okay, so that would be it for the ERP. Let's now proceed to TPM, or Total Productive Maintenance. So the keyword here is maintenance. Maintain. Okay, what shall we maintain? Okay, TPM is a maintenance program which involves a newly defined concept for maintaining plants and equipment. The plant here doesn't refer to the tree plant, nature plant, okay? The plant here refers to the factory or manufacturing facilities. We have to maintain them, and as well as our machineries and equipment that we are using in our production facility. So it's a maintenance program which involves maintaining our property, plant, and equipment. The goal of the TPM program is to markedly increase production while at the same time increasing employee morale and job satisfaction. So, a quick history of TPM is that it has evolved from TQM. So TQM again is the broader one, and then it's just a subset of TQM. The TPM is just a subset of TQM, and it is a Japanese concept that was introduced in 1951 and then was actually put in use in 1960 by Nippon Denso. The first widely attended TPM conference was held in the United States in 1990. So the concept of TPM is older than you guys. Okay, even older than me. Okay, so what are the types of maintenance? We have the breakdown maintenance, we have the preventive maintenance, corrective maintenance, and the maintenance prevention. Okay, so for preventive maintenance, we have two subclassifications. We have the periodic maintenance. So for example, you have in your program, you would specify there that some of the equipments have to be checked every month or every quarter. So that's periodic maintenance. And then we also have predictive maintenance. Okay, so here's a chart that would show us the lifetime failure rates, lifetime of the property, plant, and equipment. So at this point, so if the equipment or the machineries are relatively new, the failure, if any, are caused by the improper use. Okay, so because at the early, if the equipments are new, of course, we can expect them to be functioning well. And if there are any failures to the machineries and equipment, that is because of improper use. And then in the middle part of the lifetime of the machineries and equipment, we have the normal failures because they are getting older. And then at the last part of their lifetime of the machineries and equipment, the failures are brought about by wear out. Okay, because they are being used every day. So you could expect them to experience wear and tear. Okay, because of the introduction of TPM, Total Productive Maintenance, there is now a shift in attitudes. So this is the conventional attitude. When we say conventional, this is the traditional, the old one. So we have the separation of the operator of the machine and the person in charge for the maintenance. So operator says, I am using the machine. I am the one using the machine. While the maintenance personnel is the one maintaining and fixing the machineries and equipment. But because of the introduction of this TPM concept, there is now an overlapping of the operator and maintenance, and then shared responsibility on the maintenance of the equipment. So the operator and the maintenance personnel should think that both of them has the obligation to maintain the machineries and equipment. So the direct benefits of TPM is that there will be an increase in the overall equipment effectiveness, or OEE, up by 25% to 65%. It will also rectify customer complaints, because if we do not maintain our machineries and equipment, then these machineries and equipment could produce defective products. So it will rectify customer complaints if we do TPM. And then it will reduce the manufacturing cost by 30%. It will satisfy the customer needs by 100%. It will reduce accidents, and it will follow pollution control measures. The indirect benefits of the TPM are the following. We have a higher confidence level among the employees. It will keep the workplace clean, neat, and attractive. There is a favorable change in the attitude of the operators, as what we've seen a while ago. We can achieve goals by working as a team. We can share knowledge and experience, and the workers get a feeling of owning the machine. All right, so that ends our very long discussion on the 11 evaluation and improvement tools. Thank you so much, and I hope you've learned something.